you'll find yourself right at home in this ever-changing tourism paradise. So stay with us a while. Busan, your #1 tourist destination. Your home, away from home. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어 방송.
The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second-long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, 부산 영어 방송.
Want to be a friend of BFM, Busan 영어 방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM 부산 영어 방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call him.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
The anticipation is growing for the Milan Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. Yes, this is the second day in the running that I've been talking about this. This will be Italy's first Winter Games in 2 decades. The 25th Winter Olympics will run from February 6th through the 22nd local time. The interest here in South Korea is relatively high because of the popularity of some of the sports and particular athletes, but also because Korea has done well in the last few outings, finishing 7th in the medal standings at the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Games and more recently, placing 14th overall in Beijing 4 years ago. Looking back to when I was a kid, I remember being glued to the TV to watch the Olympics. And I've shared with you, I had limited access to, watching TV like 2 hours a week. So major sporting events, I could watch. They were an exception, so I grew up watching the Olympics. Do they matter anymore, though, is what I want to ask you. Are you looking forward to the games? I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Friday, February 6th on BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, wavers out there. It is Friday. Friday is a good day. Any week, any month, any time. So anyhow, today we're going to get to our text topic, which is related to the games coming up, the Winter Olympics. But for now, let's talk about some different economic indicators that experts use to gauge the state of the economy. For us, though, it is the most basic, everyday items that hit us the hardest. So might I suggest this index, the 붕어빵 index. How much did you used to pay for these fish-shaped pastries versus how much are you paying now? At least until a couple years ago, the normal rate was considered to be 3 for 1,000 won. But now, according to local media outlets, the going rate in Seomyeon, one of the major downtown areas here in Busan, is 3 for 2,000 won. Think about that. So 3 for 1,000won, and then now it's 3 for 2,000won. That is a doubling of our spending, our expectations. So we're talking about 100% inflation in just a matter of a couple years. But the closer to the heart of the downtown area you get, the more expensive they became at 2 for 1,000, which shows that apparently the number one rule of 붕어빵 sales may also be real estate. So when I talk about real estate, I'm talking about where these 붕어빵s are sold. And this was the shocker. There were a couple of vendors or stores where 붕어빵 sold for 1,000 won each. So what economic factors are behind this massive 붕어빵 inflation? Ingredients, of course, ingredients. The price of sweetened red bean paste has actually nearly doubled in the last 3 years. The price of flour, 밀가루, has also been going up and staying up. And earlier this week, we covered the trial that was starting into the flour manufacturers allegedly colluding with each other to raise prices. And then, like with many other consumer products, there is this trend of fancy or those high-end 붕어빵s as well. Pastries with fancy fillings, even, yes, that Dubai-style chocolate, egg tarts, blueberries, peanut butter, and chocolate. And these go for as high as 3,000 won per 붕어빵. That's pretty expensive. And the thing is this, there are long lines of people wanting to try out these novelties. So this 붕어빵 indicator tells us a lot about the rise in prices of ingredients, but also consumer sentiment about fancy novelties, something new. Waivers out there, how much are you willing to pay for a 붕어빵, for one? How much are you willing to spend? So I'm going to let you stew on that, think about that. However, I have a real question for you because it's text topic time. With the Winter Olympics coming up this weekend, what is your favorite winter sport? And breathing is not a sport. 숨쉬기 안 돼요. Okay? So not that. 자, 내가 좋아하는 겨울 스포츠는 뭘까요? I have so many. But you got to choose just one. So 하나만 선택해서 yes, think about it a little bit. Send in your favorite winter sport plus also your thoughts on the 붕어빵 to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM, 부산 영어 방송, to find our channel. Subscribe, log in, and chat with other waivers from your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 101. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. So same thing there. You got to find us first, BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. And then you can add us as a friend, then send in your messages. And if you have photos of 붕어빵, that would be nice too. You can tune into Morning Wave in Busan on the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM if you're in Busan. We are live right now, streaming on YouTube. If you haven't checked us out, at least give us a chance on that platform at least once. And then we have the BFM app, Papang app as well. It is Friday, so who's coming in? We have Now in Busan, that's with Chian. We have Haley for Top Stories, and hour number 2, Wa글와글 Tea Time. Melissa's coming in for Foreign Press Highlights. In hour number 2, we have Professor Andrew Millard, 안 교수님, as we like to call him. And then for our special interview, we are going to be talking about space-based data centers, because everything is related to AI these days. Is this AI's next frontier? Are we already there? We're going to find out with our expert coming up in hour number 2, and this is News Overview. It's now 7:07, and this is News Overview. Police to question Coupang interim CEO for a second time. The police will question Coupang interim CEO Harold Rogers today over perjury allegations related to his parliament testimony last December. Police request arrest warrants for Kang Sonu and Kim Young. The police yesterday requested arrest warrants for lawmaker Kang Sonu and former Seoul City Councilor Kim Young connected to a bribery scandal linked to the 2022 local elections. Court partially acquits power broker Byung Tae-yoon. The Changwon District Court yesterday acquitted power broker Byung Tae-yoon and former People Power Party lawmaker Kim Young-sun on charges of violating the Political Funds Act for allegedly exchanging cash for political nominations. He appoints special counsel for follow-up probe into ex-president. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday appointed Kwon Chang-young, a nominee from the minor Rebuilding Korea Party, as a special counsel for Lee to lead investigations into allegations left unaddressed by the 3 previous special counsel probes. U.S.-Russia nuclear weapons treaty expires. Fears of a new arms race are arising as the last nuclear weapons control treaty, or New START, between the U.S. and Russia has expired. This was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Jian in the studio. Let's say hi first. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yay, yay, yay. So I need to ask you 2 questions. Okay, the first one is about the 붕어빵. Do you like 붕어빵, by the way?
Yes. Which 붕어빵 do you like, by the way?
You know, I like the original. I've tried some of the fancier ones, the novelty 붕어빵 ones. They were gifted, so I didn't go out of my way to buy any of them. However, I have to say this winter, I haven't had any
Me
at
either.
all.
At all.
It's really difficult to find the stalls in where I live. And then every time I'm driving and I'm like, oh, but I can't stop here. So I'm like, 붕어빵 passing. And that's about it. So, our producer wants to know, 팥 versus shoe cream.
The shoe cream one is not 붕어빵. It's just 붕어-shaped deli bread. So personally, I think the shoe cream bread is not 붕어빵.
Okay.
It's just 붕어-shaped.
A 붕어-shaped.
붕어-shaped cream bread.
I have a feeling our producer likes the shoe cream. Because she was like almost dying. She was like...
That's a 붕어-shaped deli
Yes.
bread. Yes. The bread with the cream.
Interesting. Okay, so how much are you willing to pay?
For a single 붕어빵?
Yes.
For one? 2,000원 for 붕어빵?
For one?
That would be 2. But, you know, after buying so many 두쫀쿠, it feels like so cheap.
That's kind of true. Okay. And now, your favorite winter sport?
Oh, yes. Just one?
Just one.
You know, I've mentioned I used to play ice hockey.
Yes.
But to pick one, I think that should be a snowball fight.
Oh, snowball fight. Oh.
Yes, with my brother.
Oh, nice. I have a feeling you win. You
Always. I made him cry.
We'll get into that on a different day. But for now, we got to jump into this story. Busan City is aiming for 5 million international tourists. We've heard about this. And now I hear they have a detailed plan. What does this involve?
Yes. So Busan City is moving forward with the 8th Busan Tourism Development Plan. Covering 2027 to 2033, the plan aims to create a distinctive tourism vision and spatial framework by connecting diverse resources such as marine, mountain, industrial, historical, cultural, and ecological attractions.
Right. And are there more concrete strategies in the plan?
The city will review changing tourism trends, including K-culture, the rise of AI, and discussions around a 4.5-day work week, alongside analyzing tourist behavior and supply-demand forecasts. Based on this, Busan will develop actionable strategies for 2027 to 2031. The plan also focuses on linking the city's diverse tourism assets, aligning with national policies and higher-level plans, and preparing strategies that can connect with government-funded tourism development projects.
I see. Well, what specific tasks are included in this?
Key tasks include analyzing changes in the tourism environment, reviewing the outcomes of the 7th Tourism Development Plan, which is the previous one, and assessing tourism resource development projects. Midterm tourism demand and supply are also forecasted, and a basic development framework and spatial system are established. Strategies will also be prepared to link with nationally funded projects, supporting both Busan's competitiveness and local tourism growth.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us the details of the plan. Next up, let's talk about Busan City upgrading its old water treatment plants.
Yes, the Busan Water Authority 상수도 사업본부 is introducing an advanced water purification process at 4 aging treatment plants.
Okay.
This process, called Ultra Advanced Water Treatment, removes trace contaminants that are difficult to eliminate with just ozone and activated carbon. The project, with a total investment of 2.57 trillion won, will modernize the facilities at Deoksan, Hwamyeong, and Pamosa plants in 5 stages through 2050.
Yes, and how will this be done, and what are the benefits of doing this?
The upgrades will be carried out in phases. First at the industrial water treatment plant, then Hwamyeong, followed by Pamosa and Deoksan, and finally Myeongjang, to ensure a stable water supply for citizens throughout the project.
Yes.
Once completed, residents will have access to high-quality tap water with confidence, and the city's ability to respond proactively to climate change and water quality incidents will improve. Efficiency in plant management will also increase through smart operation systems.
I see. And of course, water is so important. We use it for our bodies, for drinking, for everything.
Indeed.
Well, let's move on to our next topic. Busan City is turning traditional markets into new economic hubs.
Yes. Busan is launching the Busan-style public-supported market renovation integrated plan. This policy has the public lead the planning while involving merchants and residents, ensuring market renovation projects proceed quickly and stably.
Yes. I'm sorry, go on.
Currently, Busan has a total of 189 traditional markets with 107 identified as needing upgrades.
Right. I was going to ask you, how many markets are out there, but thank you for sharing. What does the plan include?
The integrated plan covers business feasibility analysis and design support through expert consulting, support for project planning, temporary market setups to protect merchants' livelihoods during renovations, and the creation of operational standards and guideline manuals for market renovation projects. This month, the city will solicit applications for consulting sites, assess demand, and gradually secure project funding to expand the initiative.
Right. And what about afterwards? What are the plans afterward?
Sure. So the goal is to transform markets beyond simple retail upgrades into community hubs with social infrastructure closely linked to residents' daily lives. To ensure the plan's effectiveness, Busan City will sign a business agreement with all 16 districts, the Busan Economic Promotion Agency, and the Merchants Federation.
All right. So thanks for telling us about these traditional markets here in Busan. And now I hear there is good news for Gijangun County. So let's hear it.
Gijangun County launched the public late-night children's hospital support project, operating a 24-hour pediatric hospital.
Yes.
This is the first case in the country where a local government has supported 24-hour pediatric care. This initiative was set up to ease the burden on children and their parents who previously had no hospital to visit late at night or on holidays. Although 19% of the county's population is under 19, which is higher than the Busan average of 13%.
Okay.
The local pediatric care infrastructure had been insufficient.
Right. And, collaboration with pharmacies and support from the county, that must be important too, I'm thinking.
Exactly. Through a public selection process, the county chose medical institutions and partner pharmacies as well. So Jeongwon Uri Children's Hospital and Uri Onnuri Pharmacy were designated as Busan's Moonlight Children's Hospital, operating until midnight. And the county also provided 1 billion won for staffing, enabling late-night care from midnight to 9 a.m. following the day.
That's right. And it's so odd, but always, if you're a parent, you know this. For some reason, kids tend to get sick in the middle of the night. So I'm glad that this is happening. Thank you for all the local news. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll check in with you on Monday.
Thank you.
Everybody, this was Jian, and I'll be back with your traffic and weather. It's now 7:18. Here's your traffic report. Let's talk about the Dongso overpass. It is congested from Pomnikgo Ramp to Kegum. It's backed up on Nakdong-Namno from Gangso Police Station to Seongsan three-way intersection. There's traffic on Jungwangdaero from Kumjonggu District Office to Myeongyun Station. It's also slow on Daedong-Hwamyeong Bridge, that top portion to Anmak Ramp. It is currently 5 degrees Celsius here in Busan under partially cloudy skies, with a daytime high expected to go all the way up to 8 degrees. Busan City under a special dry weather report. Nationwide, a sudden temperature drop by 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. So you need to bundle up as you head out today. Looking ahead to the weekend, clear skies on both days, but will be significantly colder. Tomorrow, a low of 0, a high of 4. And then on Sunday, we're expecting a low of -7 and a high of just 2 degrees Celsius. This was your traffic and weather.
Korea Broadcast Advertising Corporation, KOBACO, supports your broadcast advertising production costs. This program is open to innovative small and medium-sized enterprises, offering up to 45 million won for TV ads and 3 million won for radio ads. Applications are open from January 22nd to February 23rd at 6 p.m. For more details, visit the KOBACO website.
It is time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Friday.
Yay.
So let's talk about the two things that are very important to us. First up, the 붕어빵.
I think I'm getting closer to team pat red beans, but then what's important to me is like the crust.
Of
if they
course.
give you the yes, that, because they won't, some places won't like cut off the crust parts. I'm like, they're the best parts. It's all about the, I don't know, the aesthetics, I suppose. There's a young man, an entrepreneurial young man who has a 붕어빵 stand right on my way home from the bus station.
Okay.
But I think because he's so young, his hands aren't that fast, so there's always and then it's good, so there's always a line. So it's a dilemma. I'm like, do I want to wait or do I just want to go home?
Right.
I mostly just want to go home.
근데 that looks really good. Like I want to just kind of reach out and grab one. 그냥 방송 계속 이러고 보면서
It's just
만날까요?
golden and crusty.
Yes.
Yum.
So yum. Okay. Oh, and then the sports. Sorry.
That. Sure.
What's your favorite winter sport?
I love being active in the winter, like rather than the summer. I don't really watch sports because I don't get them. So things, there are so many rules. Like I just
really, you don't know the difference between a triple Lutz and a triple Salchow?
So no.
Sorry.
No,
Figure
you
skating.
might. I do like ice skating though.
Yeah.
But aesthetic, like artistic categories, like figure skating, ice dancing.
Yeah.
That I love. But then, I don't know, hockey, I'm like, why are we stopping? Yes. But I do love being outdoors, hiking, running. That was me hiking a few weeks ago.
Yay.
Yeah. And then that next picture, that's me running from last weekend at Samnak. It's just so pretty out.
It is pretty.
Yeah.
All
Yay.
right.
All right.
Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
All right, we're going to get into our top stories. The South Korean Defense Ministry has been making this move to take greater control of the demilitarized zone, DMZ, that is currently under UN command. So let's get into the story.
Right. So as you said, the DMZ is under the control of the United Nations Command, which is a U.S.-led multinational force that's under the Korea War armistice.
Yes.
But recently, this whole issue of DMZ access control has surfaced. So number one, South Korea's unification minister, Jung Dong-young, he stressed this need for the so-called the DMZ access bill. This happened because some key high-profile individuals, including the Deputy National Security Advisor Kim Hyun-jong and a Catholic cardinal, Lazaro Yu-hung-sik, they were denied access to the buffer zone in the DMZ.
Okay.
So the Unification Ministry's argument is that the issue pertains to territorial sovereignty for South Korea. So right now, the Democratic Party is working on legislation to support this, named the peaceful use of the DMZ.
Yes. However, this is a controversial stance.
Because it is a war zone, technically speaking. And even within the South Korean government, there's a little bit of a difference between details, namely the foreign and the defense ministries, and of course the United Nations Command or the UNC.
Right.
So the UNC has stated that the armistice agreement remains the binding framework for such access, meaning it has control over the area.
Right, right. But in the latest turn of events, the Defense Ministry has proposed a joint management of the DMZ with the U.S.
Right, so not the entirety, but the DMZ is also separated into parts and territories. So that would be having the southern area, so area south of the South Korea's fenced off area of the DMZ under South Korea's Defense Ministry control.
Right.
So the vision is essentially to have the South Korean military have the rights to approve people who would be able to enter that region, again, south of the fence. So Defense Minister Ang Kyu-baek is said to have met with the United Nations Commander Xavier Brunson and have spoken to him about this. So for South Korea's side, it seems to be a compromise of sorts to have joint management of the DMZ area.
Okay.
But as for the other parties, we have no answer yet from the United States or the UNC.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next story. We may see some major changes coming to the retail world. What is this?
Right. So early morning deliveries, right? 새벽배송. Why is your face like crestfallen? Nothing's happening to them,
Okay,
at least yet. That's been a game changer, as you can tell by the look of panic and kind of the new norm in e-commerce, for better or for worse.
Yes.
And this has had the side effect in terms of the retail industry of having kind of starving out the larger franchise supermarket chains. And according to reports, now the Democratic Party, the government, and 청와대, they've reached an agreement to revise the law to allow for these supermarket grocery chains to also be able to do early morning deliveries.
Okay, and that's because these large supermarket chains are under restrictions on when they can operate.
Right. So under the current law, larger supermarket chains are prohibited from operating or staying open between midnight and 10 o'clock in the morning the following day.
Okay.
And they also must have 2 mandatory closure days each month. So the thing about this law, though, was it was created when e-commerce wasn't even on the radar. Wasn't a thing. And they were seen as, meaning the supermarket chains, were seen as major competitors to traditional markets.
Yes, and what will the new law say?
Well, because now enter e-commerce. So the ruling party and the government, they're of the position and they have agreed to put an exemption to that for online transactions.
Okay.
So the supermarkets won't be able to physically stay open past midnight, but they will be able to offer early morning deliveries.
Got it.
But there are still concerns that this necessarily won't help small businesses and traditional markets. And even the more fundamental argument that, early morning deliveries could pose harms to the overall market, of course, the workers. So do we really want to make that even further the norm?
Yes, great point. So we'll see. We'll watch this story. Earlier this week, we talked about the indictment of flour and sugar executives for alleged price collusion. Apparently, an investigation is underway for eggs as well.
Because you know what else has been really expensive?
Yeah.
Eggs. So the Korea Egg Producer Association, they're going to face an assessment, which is kind of a de facto trial by the Fair Trade Commission or the FTC. So that's because the FTC's investigator recently submitted an assessment report saying that its rule that the Egg Producer Association has committed price collusion, price fixing, or 가격 담합, calling for a correctional order plus a fine. So now with this request, the full board of the FTC will rule on it.
Well, what evidence has the FTC provided for this alleged price fixing?
Right, so let's look at the data and the timing. So according to the Ministry of Data and Statistics, egg prices, they have gone up for 10 consecutive months.
Right.
So last July, a pack of 30 eggs, so we call that 계란 한 판, that came to 8,588 won, which is 15% increase from the year before.
Right.
So, of course, multiple reasons. One reason that's been cited was a drop in supply because of the highly pathogenic avian influenza, bird flu. But the FTC says that the rapid escalation of egg prices started before the AI outbreak.
Oh.
So we can rule that out for at least a part of that increase. And that allegedly has to do with the Egg Producer Association's activities of alleged collusion. So this follows comments from President Lee Jae-myung during last September's cabinet meeting when he asked the head of the FTC to basically go out there and ask fundamental questions like when did fruit prices start to go up or why did they start to go up in early 2023, raising questions about price fixing.
Yes, peculiar. And amid this stern warning, flour and sugar manufacturers are lowering their prices.
That was a rapid response.
Wow.
So CJ announced yesterday that they're lowering their prices of all of the retail sugar and flour products by an average of 6%. So it said that it's reflected international raw material and raw ingredient prices, and it is also participating in the government's price stabilization measures.
Yes.
Other companies as well as 삼양사, 사조동아원, and 대한flour all announced a reduction of their respective products. We're looking at between 4 to 6%.
But what about all the stuff that we bought in the meantime? Okay. Let's move on and talk about some major events set to take place this weekend. First, with the U.S.-Iran talks.
Right. So after days or even weeks of anticipation, the United States and Iran will hold nuclear talks on Friday local time in Oman. And that's according to the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. So according to several media reports that quoted an unnamed White House official, the Trump administration too has confirmed that the U.S. will participate in these high-level negotiations. Again, it's taking place in Oman rather than Turkey or Turkey as it had been negotiated.
Right.
So there was even speculation that the talks may have been canceled because there was a near or seemingly military conflict that took place on Tuesday local time where a U.S. Navy fighter jet shot down an Iranian drone that was approaching an American aircraft carrier. So at that point, tensions were actually quite high.
I see. So why the sudden announcement and talks?
Right. So the first clear signs that Iran wanted to go back to negotiations, that started on Tuesday, actually the same day, when Iran's reformist president, Masoud Pezeshkian, said that he had instructed the foreign minister to pursue fair and equitable negotiations with the U.S.
Okay.
And analysts believe that behind this decision and statement was a move that was supported by the supreme leader who basically signs off on everything that happens in the country, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So that's Iran's part. What about the U.S.? It was reported that several Arab and Muslim leaders urged the Trump administration the following day on Wednesday to not cancel, not walk away from the talks, even as Iranian officials pressed to narrow the scope of talks. So the official added that the White House remains very skeptical, so don't hold your breath about any major deals coming out, but they've agreed to go along with the change in plans out of respect for allies in the region.
All right. Well, we're going to end on a lighter note for top stories. We've been building up to this. The Milano, Cortina Winter Olympic Games are kicking off this weekend.
Yes, so opening ceremony will take place in Milano at 8 p.m. Friday local time. That makes it 4 a.m. Korea time.
Yes.
So do what you will with
I'll
that.
be up.
Are you going to be up?
I'm always up.
All right.
At this hour.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
So this is Italy's 4th Olympics overall, the 2nd Winter Games. Last one was in Torino, 2006.
Right.
This is the first Olympics with 2 official host cities listed in the name, and they're actually 400 kilometers apart. So that's
Yes.
about Seoul, Busan. So that's quite far. What sets this games apart is that they will actually take place across Italy. And the reason, sustainability. So rather than building new infrastructure in one host city, they're just going to make use of existing infrastructure. That great in principle. How that will be in practice will be interesting. There was already a brief power outage at a stadium because some games were taking place at the curling games. So we shall see. So they'll take place across the country. Let's go to the opening ceremony.
Yes.
Marco Bellricci, who directed the Torino ceremony, is also the director of the whole thing under the theme of Armonia or harmony.
Right.
The musical performance. So I'm excited about the Mariah Carey concert and the Andrea Bocelli concert with Chinese pianist Lang Lang also performing. So as a non-sports person, I'll be watching the musicality aspect of it.
You had me at the pre-games. You mean the preliminary rounds?
Yeah. I know.
I was like,
I know. As it was coming out of my mouth, I'm like, the credibility just went down.
Love it.
Apologies.
No. Well, thank you for all the top stories. And of course, go Team Korea or whatever team you're rooting for, but Team Korea. And we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you soon.
All right. It's time for a song that is associated with like this movie and sports. Here is Butterfly by Loveholics.
어리석은 세상은 너를 몰라 후회 속에 감춰진 너를 못 봐 나는 알아 내겐 보여 그토록 찬란한 너의 날개
겁내지마 할 수 있어 뜨겁게 꿈틀거리는 날개를 펴 날아올라 세상 위로
태양처럼 빛이 나는 그대 이 세상이 거칠게 막아서도 나는 사랑해 난 너를 사랑해 널 세상에 볼 수 있게 날아줘날래 꺾여버린 꽃처럼 아플 때도 쓰러진 나무처럼 초라해도 너를 믿어 나를 믿어 우리는 서로를 믿고 있어
심장의 소리를 느껴봐 힘겹게 접어놓았던 날개를 펴 날아올라 세상 위로
없잖아 너
It's time for Foreign Press Highlights. Guess who's here? Melissa's here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am not as chipper as you, but I appreciate your morning chipperness.
I am always chipper.
Because you've been awake for like 5 hours already, right?
Okay.
It's 7:30, so you've been awake like 5 hours. You've had 3
I'll be
cups
honest,
of coffee.
I woke up at 4 this morning. Usually it's like 4:15, but today my eyes just flew open. So I have my caffeine.
Okay.
And I'm good to go.
Shockingly small size considering you were awake at 4 a.m.
Yes.
I have respect for that. Yesterday, not like last night, but day before, I was trying to sleep still at 4 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
So we're, reverse sides
we are.
of this.
I have a question for you. Our text topic, we're talking about the Winter Games. What is your favorite winter sport? And you can only choose one.
Well, that's an easy one. Figure skating.
Yay!
Hello. So I know here in Korea, everybody knows Kim Yeon-ah. Kim Yeon-ah has retired, of course, a long time ago, but there are so many great South Korean figure skaters. Several of them are trying the triple axel, which is extremely difficult. So for those of you not in the figure skating world, you might think, well, Nathan Chen, for example, and Korean figure skaters also.
Yes.
They're doing quads. Nathan Chen also retired, by the way.
Right.
But why are we excited about a triple axel? Because triple axel, you enter from the front. So you actually have to do an extra half rotation compared to like a Lutz, for example, where you enter from the back. So it's
Leslie,
extremely
and I,
difficult.
We got to watch together because she knows the difference. She already wrote. An axel is a forward edge jump. A Lutz is a backwards direction toe jump.
Yes.
I know all the Sao Cow, the Lutz.
Oh, yes.
Let's get into it.
The toe, the triple toe is the easiest, people. The Lutz and the flip.
Not that we can do it.
They're typically the most difficult.
I'm so excited.
Only single. Yes. Only a single. Not anything more than that. No. Yes. So very excited about figure skating. Pyeongchang 2018.
Yes.
I got tickets for the figure skating events. And I'm not sure. So this is a walk down memory lane. Those of you who are not into figure skating, I'm sorry, give me 1 minute and I'm going to stop talking about figure skating. I met Mirai Nagasu.
Oh.
American figure skater.
Right.
So she was just walking around after the short program, women's individual free skate, was able to talk to her. And my brother, he is like the ultimate figure skating fan, and he was just hyping her up. At that time, Mirai Nagasu, American figure skater, was the only one doing a triple axel.
For a woman, that's really difficult for ladies. Yes.
Very difficult. And so it didn't go as she wanted, but my brother was like, you're the only one doing it. Nobody else has got the triple axel. You've got it. You're the only one. At least you're trying it. So he was like the ultimate hype man.
We could do this for like 20 minutes.
We could just go on. How much time we got in our new 52-week special, figure skating?
I know.
What edge should we be using? That's not the topic for today, but that's very exciting.
Okay, so
yes,
putting that aside for now. We could go on for 2 hours. I along with you. But what do you have for us for Foreign Press Highlights?
Well, this first story, it's about an unexpected impact the success of K-pop Demon Hunters is having in other countries.
Yes.
So I'm sure most people already know Hunter X won Best Song for Visual Media at the Grammy Awards earlier this week. It made Golden the first ever K-pop song to win a Grammy. And that success, I mean, it really shouldn't come as a big surprise considering K-pop Demon Hunters has more than 325 million views and is the most popular film ever on the flicks. It beat out another Korean show as most watched, actually, season 1 of Squid Game.
Right.
Cortina game.
That is not an easy feat.
Yes.
Because it was highly popular. Yes.
Absolutely. So with all these Korean programs reaching international fame, most people trace it back to Psy, Gangnam Style, right? The days of 2012. There's one thing people have to do, and it's resort to using subtitles or
what?
Use subtitles or learn Korean.
Oh, learn Korean.
Yes.
So that's kind of the theme for story one. More people are studying Korean these days?
Yes. It is an unexpected side effect of Korean music, movies, TV shows becoming more famous around the world.
Yes.
So the New York Times reports fans are so obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunters, they are learning Korean. That was their headline. So the Times completed interviews with numerous people in the United States who've seen a surge in demand for Korean lessons firsthand.
Yes.
Seo Ju-won is the director of the Korean language program at Columbia University. Big name there. And he was quoted as saying, it's been very noticeable that, quote, Korean language is cool now.
Oh,
Perhaps that's why universities all across the U.S. are adding Korean language courses to their curriculum. So I'm curious.
Yes.
When you went to university, was Korean language a popular thing?
No.
Were there... No, that was a quick no. Right?
It's a quick no because we're living in a different era.
Right.
When I was in college, there were a lot of Korean students or Korean, Americans or ethnically Korean students at my university because it's in LA.
Right.
However, no Korean classes.
Okay.
And even when we learned history, very small, like maybe 2 lines, maybe a paragraph because of the Korean War. But that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, really nothing. I know my university also, they had just added in a Chinese language program. And Americans were so excited to learn Hanja. I was like, really? That's like the hardest thing I can possibly think of to learn.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely no Korean language program at that time. But it's all different now.
Yes.
Yes.
Apparently. So how big is the demand now for Korean language classes in the U.S.?
So according to Tammy Kim, the executive director of a nonprofit language institute in California, in Irvine. It's called the Korean American Center. We are limited only by our own capacity.
Oh, that means popular.
Yes, very popular. For the record, the increase in demand for learning languages, it is not across the board.
Okay.
In fact, the demand for learning a foreign language is down 16% in universities. However, the Korean language is the only language with a huge uptick in interest. By huge, I mean 38% increase.
That's really huge.
Right? Everything else down 16%, Korean language up 38%. So both university professors like those from University of California, Berkeley, and also Korean language learners at American high schools, they've said there's an increase in classes for what they call non-heritage learners.
Okay, so we need to get into that. What is a non-heritage learner? What does it mean?
Basically, that means people who do not have previous exposure to the Korean language. For example, they're not Korean American, they did not grow up in Korea, and so on. One of these teachers was interviewed by the New York Times. He's named Bob Ha. He grew up in Korea. And he said the majority of his students, his students are Black and Latino. They came into his Korean class knowing more K-pop than he did. And these students knew a lot of slang and basic Korean phrases before they even started his basic Korean class.
So once again, before they took, Korean language classes, they already knew some Korean. I mean, from what though? How did they attain this?
They got this through K-dramas, K-pop. So, for example, K-pop Demon Hunters, that's one. Some university students interviewed for the news article said they add Korean words into their daily conversations with other students, and there's no communication problem. Everyone seems to understand.
Wow.
So I'm curious, back in your time in the U.S., how common was it to use, everybody now, I think they're using oppa and maknae and these kinds of words, everyday conversation. Did you ever hear anyone say
not at all. Especially when I was really little, like we lived in there were no other Asians in my neighborhood, basically. I was the only Asian in the entire school. And my mom had to drive me an hour to attend the Hangul 학교 once a week on Saturdays. I remember the school. It was Hobart Elementary School. I don't even know if it's still there. And I went, and that's where I learned my Hyunyeon Tigut. But it was more for the interaction, to go back to my Korean roots. Because I forgot Korean because I went when I was so little. And they were trying to immerse me in English, right?
Yes, right. So you would have been considered the heritage learner, and now there are more classes for the non-heritage learners.
Yes.
So if times had flipped earlier, you could have been in huge classes.
I could have been in, and I would have been much more fluent.
And you would have been the coolest kid in class. That's for sure.
That's true. But anyhow. Wow.
Yes.
So interesting to find out about the trends about, the interest in the Korean language in universities and across schools. So we do have to move on to our next story, though. Is that okay?
Yes.
So what do you have for us?
Well, as Haley just talked about, bright and early, 4 a.m. tomorrow, that when you wake up anyway, we will have the opening ceremony to the 2026 Milano Cortina Olympics.
Yes.
But even before the competitions start, there's already plenty of talk about South Korea in the games. So for one, the Korea House, it's open from February 5th, Northern Italian time, so give it a couple hours, right? In the past, like back in 2004 Athens Olympics, when Korea first started offering this feature at the Olympics, it was more of a spot just for press releases.
Right.
But now, like we just talked about, increase in K-pop demon hunters, K-beauty, and so on. It's a cultural space. So here's a fun fact.
Sure.
A blog post for the Milano Olympics gave an informal poll asking if people attending the Olympics would visit the Korea House. 97% said they would.
Wow.
So that is a promising start. And South Korean athletes are already gracing the website of American Olympic broadcasting sponsor NBC.
Wow. Okay. So which South Korean athletes are being talked about?
Let's start with short track speed skater Im Jong-un.
Okay.
He was one of only a handful of athletes listed among NBC's top stars to watch this Olympics.
Okay.
He will be competing with Team Korea's, quote, ultra competitive short track squad beginning on February 10th.
That's an understatement.
Yes.
Just to get onto that team, the national team is probably more competitive than some international competitions.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you just alluded to, Korea really famous for having a lot of talented skaters. So why was Im Jong-un singled out as kind of the skater to watch, though?
The main reason is not only his age,
Right.
he's only 18, but also how quickly he has moved up the ranks. So Im won South Korean team trials when he was 17 years old. At age 18, Im won gold in the 1,500 meter. Again, his third time to do this in the junior circuit.
Wow.
Then 2025, so just last season, he was first in short track men's standings.
Okay.
With NBC pointing out he ranked above Beijing 2022 Olympic champ Hwang Dae-hun in the 1,500 meter.
Okay.
So the American news outlet also pointed out Im earned a silver medal in the 100 meter, 1,000 meter during 2025-2026 season of ISU Short Track World Tour. Basically, medal, win, success.
So young.
Yes, he got a gold in 1,500 meter during the same competition. So, I mean, he's top of the podium in Korea. He's top of the podium in this ISU Short Track World Tour.
Yes.
It's no wonder why NBC has their eye on this rising superstar.
So the Olympics haven't even officially started, but South Korea is in the news with some of its top athletes. And then there was this other Olympic-related thing in the headlines that I saw.
Yes, so it's a little sad. Team Korea did not make Vogue's list with the best Olympic 2026 uniforms to look for at the Winter Games.
Okay.
Korea is a very fashionable country, so it's kind of depressing. Korea's team uniform, it was chosen via bidding process. It's, I'll just translate. 보갈굴, who won.
Yes.
Team. Yes.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, just translate in your mind. We can't say the brand.
Yeah.
Team Mongolia. Again, same as last Winter Olympics. They topped the list as the most fashionable team uniform. It's a cashmere company that has outfitted them. You can see it at the opening ceremony bright and early, 4 a.m. Other people topping Vogue's list are Team USA, Team Canada, Team Brazil, Team Norway, and Team Italy. Of course, Italy's hosting, so you got to make a good fashion impression.
Right. So in terms of the official, the official, I guess, like uniform for the entire team, they usually they all match. We don't have images of that. Very difficult to find.
Yes.
But this is actually of a photo of the freestyle ski uniform that you see on our screen on our NoTube right now, so you can check it out.
I think it looks very nice. I mean,
do too.
But I guess it's quite simple.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's why it's not on the best dressed list.
Yes, well, thank you for all the coverage of not just the Olympics, but the other big topic as well, Korean language.
Yes.
And wishing you a wonderful weekend, and we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Melissa.
Yes, we'll see you next week.
All right, it is time for this song, shout out by N-Hyphen. This song is the official cheering 응원 song for Team Korea for the Winter Olympics. I'll be back at 8.
생겼지 온갖 사람들의 말에 지쳐만 같았지 누가 나를 정의해 내가 뒀던 거짓 같은 paradise 누군가 그 어두운 borderline 넘어 shout out and this is my shout out 나타온 날 위해 제멋대로 네 멋대로 여긴 우리만의 universe 지 따위 볼 것 없이 그저 자유로운 혼자라면 포기했겠지 날 가뒀던 그 벽에 갇혀 날 부르는 너의 목소리 You're blowing up my heart baby 서로의 목격자 Yeah you and I 서로의 listener 믿고 있잖아 우리의 완벽한 harmony 정말 아름다워 제 멋대로 네 멋대로 여긴 우리만의 universe 눈치 따위 볼 것 없이 그저 자유로운 이 순간 You and me We go show 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 when we're together 3, 2, 1 뜨겁게 외쳐 하나로 커져가는 목소리 심장이 터질 듯이 뛰고 있어 Show 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 너와 나 같이 세상을 흔들어 봐 더 시끄럽게 널 향한 내 마음을 소리쳐 가슴 뜨겁게 shout out
안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿠존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿠존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Brr! It's freezing outside. Let's crank up the heat.
Wait, you don't have to. Lowering the temperature by just 2 degrees can save a lot of energy.
2 degrees? That small change really matters?
You'd be surprised. If 10% of Korean households lower their heating by just 2 degrees, the effects are like planting about 350,000 trees a year.
That's magical. Then I'll just bundle up instead.
Smart move. Try wearing some thermal underwear or warm socks.
Plus, when you go out, don't turn the heater off completely. Set it to away mode or 외출 mode.
That way, it uses less fuel than turning it off and reheating the whole place later. Turn down the heat, but not your warmth.
This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어 방송.
Want to be a friend of BFM Busan 영어 방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM Busan 영어 방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call him.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Spotlight News at 8 o'clock. Police to question Coupang interim CEO for second time. The police will question Coupang interim CEO Harold Rogers today over perjury allegations related to his parliament testimony last December. A National Assembly committee has filed a complaint seeking an investigation into Rogers and 6 other former and incumbent Coupang executives for committing perjury. In the meantime, Coupang yesterday announced that it found a leak of 165,000 additional accounts, effectively admitting that its previous finding of a leak of just 3,000 accounts or cases in the data breach was inaccurate. Police request arrest warrants for Kang Sun-woo and Kim Young. The police yesterday requested arrest warrants for lawmaker Kang Sun-woo and former Seoul City Councilor Kim Young connected to a bribery scandal linked to the 2022 local elections. Kim is accused of offering 100 million won to Kang in exchange for a Democratic Party or DP nomination for her councilorship ahead of the 2022 local elections. As a sitting lawmaker, Kang, however, has immunity from arrest while Parliament is in session, and the National Assembly must pass a motion waiving this immunity. Court partially acquits power broker Myung Tae-gyun. The Changwon District Court yesterday acquitted power broker Myung Tae-gyun and former People Power Party or PPP lawmaker Kim Young-sun on charges of violating the Political Funds Act for allegedly exchanging cash for political nominations. The court, however, found Myung guilty of soliciting concealment of evidence in connection with the case, sentencing him to 6 months in prison, suspended for 1 year. The court acknowledged that Myung may have influenced Kim's eventual nomination. It said that there was no evidence to suggest that promises were made between the two defendants in exchange for the nomination. He appoints special counsel for a follow-up probe into ex-president. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday appointed Kwon Chang-young, a nominee from the minor Rebuilding Korea Party, as a special counsel to lead investigations into allegations left unaddressed by the 3 previous special counsel probes. Kwon Chang-young is an attorney at law firm Ji-pyong and an adjunct professor at the Seoul National University School of Law, who also served as a judge in several district courts. The ruling Democratic Party led the passage of the bill, calling for a comprehensive special counsel investigation that combines 3 separate probes into ex-President Yoon Suk-yeol, ex-First Lady Kim Gun-hee, and the death of a young Marine. U.S.-Russian nuclear weapons treaty expires. Fears of a new arms race are rising as the last nuclear weapons control treaty, or New START, between the U.S. and Russia has expired. U.S. President Donald Trump called the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty a badly negotiated deal that has been grossly violated and called for a new and improved treaty. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said its end marks a grave moment for international peace and security and called on the U.S. and Russia to negotiate a successor framework without delay. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for a special interview on this Friday morning. As we all know, AI is growing by leaps and bounds, and so is the conversation around the infrastructure needed to support it. Recently, an unexpected idea entered the global conversation, moving data centers into space. The concept drew attention at the World Economic Forum in Davos, sparking debate over what the future of AI infrastructure might look like. Today, we're going to be joined by an expert to talk through what is realistic and what is still theoretical. Joining us today is Professor Gregory Falco, assistant professor at the Sibley School of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering and the Systems Engineering Program at Cornell University. Hi, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today.
Absolutely. So first up, what exactly is this whole idea of a space-based data center?
So it's a very simple as it sounds. It's a data center that lives in low Earth orbit and it's usually solar powered, and it's designed to process, store, and analyze data that usually is collected in space.
And how are they different from the data centers we use on Earth today? Is it just about the location, or are they different?
I think there's a lot of misnomers around what people believe is a space-based data center, because right now, we don't really have such thing as a data center on the ground in space. We have computing capabilities in space, but we really don't have the scale and size that people are really expecting. And so they are quite different right now because we can't really hit the thermal requirements for dissipating the heat that's generated by these sensors. And therefore, what we see in space is going to probably look quite different than what we have on the ground for processing data.
I see. And why this idea? Why now? Has something changed in AI or the tech that is making people look elsewhere, look towards space?
I think that a big part of this is that increasingly as data centers are starting to pop up for AI processing, people don't want them in their backyard. And this is a big community action issue that we've seen across the Western world, and I'm sure is happening in the East as well, where no one wants these massive energy-hungry things in their neighborhoods. It really can disrupt the ecosystem around it, and they require an amazing amount of energy. So doing it in space might offer offsets for the energy, but also be out of people's backyards.
Ah, I get it. The not in my backyard, the NIMBY effect. Yes. So from your perspective, Professor, what is the hardest part of making this work? Maybe getting the hardware, into orbit, powering it or running it in the first place, or maybe all of the above?
All of the above is a good answer. But, some of the biggest issues from a technical standpoint right now are really thermal requirements. And I mentioned that briefly before, which means just like you think that space is cold, but it's actually very hard to dissipate heat in space. And it's because of the vacuum. And so what we need to figure out how to do is allow for large-scale heat buildup to dissipate for these data centers out in space right now. That's a big technology problem that we have to solve. And there's other problems that are out there too, but I think this is probably one of the biggest messes that are ahead of us.
Ah, yes. And recently I saw this SpaceX applying to the FCC, which is the U.S. agency that regulates, satellites and communications, for approval to launch up to 1 million satellites linked to space-based data centers. So what does this mean? And when you saw this, did you think it's getting closer to reality, or do you think that it just raises even further questions?
I think it was an interesting statement from an awareness building standpoint. It's not a new concept necessarily to have space-based data processing. And we recently published some papers about the benefits of doing computing in space, but there's a threshold where it makes sense and where it doesn't make sense. And so when we see that, someone wants to launch 1 million satellites to be able to do this, it really raises questions of, are these actual data centers, or are these just little compute nodes that are, little tiny computers that would be connected to each other that would enable some kind of processing in space? So it raises a lot more questions than it does answers, but it does bring it to a public conversation now, which it wasn't the case previously.
I see. So it definitely has people talking, because we're talking about it right now, obviously, right?
Absolutely.
Well, beyond the U.S., are there other countries that are working on this kind of thing right now?
Yeah, so it's our understanding that China is also developing similar technology. And there was actually a response right after Elon Musk posted this saying, hey, we're building it better and bigger from the Chinese government and its proxies. So, I expect that this technology is not new. It's just something where you have to have the will and the money to launch at that kind of capacity and be able to design systems that are really meant for outer space to function.
Yes.
So I think we'll see more of it, but it's going to take some time.
Right. So because I was going to ask you, if these efforts that we're seeing right now, if they are quite serious, because anything that SpaceX or Elon Musk says, people do tend to listen. Do you think we'll be seeing this new kind of global tech race in space, or is this a little bit too far from reality right now?
I mean, I think we already are seeing this massive tech race in space at this point in time. And it's not something that's quite part of public discourse every day, but it's happening on a scale of great power competition, where we see countries that are spacefaring needing to demonstrate constantly how their technology has evolved quickly in space and their robotic capabilities are able to perform differently in space. And as we push towards commercial use of these space capabilities, it will become a more public topic. But the space race has already really begun from a technology standpoint. And there's really no stopping it anytime soon because of all of the private dollars that are going into the space race at this point, compared to the past when it's always been governments or militaries that have been funding it. Right. It's now commercial companies.
Absolutely. And finally, if space-based data centers do become real someday, what would that mean? What could that mean for things like AI, even energy use, and basic just everyday life here on Earth? Would it have a huge impact?
No, it actually raises more questions than answers at this point. And the reason why is because we're not expecting necessarily to have a lot of data collected on the ground here on Earth and then send it up to space for processing. That doesn't really make a lot of computational sense, or just doesn't make a lot of logic. And so we think that most of the space-based capability would be used for space-based data collection and utility. So I don't know if we're going to see major implications on the ground, but we might see drastic improvements in the ability to process information that we're collecting in space for intelligence gathering capabilities.
I see. Well, such a fascinating topic. Thank you so much for letting us know what you know and what we might expect in the future. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It was great.
Once again, everybody, this was Professor Gregory Falco talking about the fact that, well, as he said, there's already a global tech race happening in space right now. But with these space-based data centers, when we'll see them, well, we don't quite know. We're going to have to keep an eye on this story. This was our special interview, and I'll be back with your updated traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your updated traffic report. There is an accident to report on. It's on Pyeonglo going into the city right in front of the Busan Environment Corporation. There's a congestion from Mandak intersection to Namhae Expressway, the Tokton ramp. It is backed up on Little Samsung-daedo from Myeongji underpass to Shino Bridge. It's also slow on Gwangan Bridge right now, that top portion. Currently, it is 5 degrees here in Busan under partially cloudy skies. It's going to go up to 8. The bad ultra fine dust levels mean you might need a mask today. Busan City is under a special dry weather report. Nationwide, yes, the temperatures have dropped significantly, anywhere between 5 to 10 degrees, so you need to bundle up as you head out today. Looking ahead to the weekend here in Busan, it's going to be clear but significantly colder. Tomorrow, a low of 0, a high of 4, and on Sunday, -7 as our low and a high of just 2 degrees. This was our traffic and weather. This is 1D with What Makes You Beautiful.
You're insecure, don't know what for. You're turning heads when you walk through the door. Don't need makeup to cover up. Being the way that you are is enough. Everyone else in the room can see it. Everyone else but you. Baby, you light up my world like nobody else. The way that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed. But when you smile at the ground, it ain't hard to tell. You don't know, you don't know you're beautiful. If only you saw what I can see, you'll understand why I want you so desperately. Right now I'm looking at you and I can't believe you don't know, you don't know you're beautiful. That's what makes you beautiful. So come on, you got it wrong. To prove I'm right, I put it in a song. I don't know why you're being shy and turn away when I look into your eyes. Everyone else in the room can see it. Everyone else but you. Baby, you light up my world like nobody else. The way that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed. But when you smile at the ground, it ain't hard to tell. You don't know, you don't know you're beautiful. If only you saw that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed. But when you smile at the ground, it ain't hard to tell. You don't know you're beauty, you light up my world like nobody else. The way that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed. But when you smile at the ground, it ain't hard to tell. You don't know you're beautiful. Only you saw what I can see. You'll understand why I want you so desperately. Right now I'm looking at you and I can't believe you don't know. You don't know you're beautiful. You don't know you're beautiful. That's what makes you beautiful.
BEFM, Busan English Broadcasting, is looking for talented, passionate freelance broadcast professionals to join our team. We are currently accepting applications for program hosts and reporters, news anchors, writers, and digital media producers. Please submit your resume, cover letter, and a 1-minute self-introduction video by February 20th. For full details, visit our website at www.befm.or.kr and check the community tab. Your broadcasting journey starts here. Join BEFM today. It is time for Waggle Waggle Tea Time. Haley's back.
Hello, hello.
Yes, yes. So we're going to jump into this story. One elected official made a highly inappropriate comment regarding the country's population problem.
Right. So we've been talking about the administrative mergers for multiple metropolitan cities and provinces. This pertains to the Gwangju-Jeonnam potential merger. So there have been these town hall meetings taking place across the area with the respective heads of the areas. So the county chief of Jindo County, Kim Hee-soo, he was talking about the population crisis, how a lot of the areas that are seeing a population cliff, they're located in Jeonnam. And one of the proposed solutions, importing foreign women.
He did not say that.
He did.
Oh.
And please keep in mind that all of the comments that we are going to be reporting on, these are direct translations of what he said.
Okay.
Nothing reflecting the stations or even, my personal values. So he stated that the merger could be a solution to the population crisis. But then there are also limits to finding solutions with small city and county resources. That's why we should draw from, metropolitan and provincial budget. That's all very reasonable.
Okay.
And then but when trying to talk about writing such population issues into law, Kim stated that if there's nothing else, quote, we should import young women from countries like Sri Lanka and Vietnam to help young men in rural areas get married. And also the Korean term that he used, which we have on our YouTube, and I refuse to say, was it was referring to very young women, and it wasn't like 여성, it was something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this came from the head of a county.
It did. So that is problematic for many reasons, including from human rights perspectives and women's rights perspectives. So at least it didn't go unaddressed. Because sometimes the problem is in major events, if the person at the very top of the hierarchy says something, people can't say anything.
Right.
Gwangju's mayor, Kang Ki-jung, who was also on stage with him, stepped right in, refuting this.
Okay.
So he drew the line outright, saying that while there may be many solutions to the population problem, words like importing people for marriage, foreign women, those are all wrong. So Kang stated that it's industries that bring populations back and in return bring higher birth rates.
Right, because if you talk about, in air quotes, importing people, it sounds like human trafficking, to be honest. Importing, really? All right, let's move on. Parents in South Korea get stipends to help pay for their children's uniform, their school uniform. But apparently the out-of-pocket expenses are getting much more expensive.
Do you have experience with this?
Well, the thing is this. You get a stipend, and I'm sure you'll get into it, but then you got to buy the extras.
Exactly.
Is that it?
That's the thing. And because I never had to wear uniforms myself, and I'm single, so I want all the parents' experiences because it also kind of changes with the times as well. So local municipalities, they mostly have uniform stipends, and how that's given out depends on where you are. I believe Busan, they give you cash or cash-like stipends. Other areas actually give it to you in the form of the uniforms themselves.
Okay.
So it differs, but seems to be valued around 300 to 400,000 won.
Yes.
But it seems that uniform companies, therefore, they've hiked their prices accordingly. Yeah. So they're like, well, since you're getting this for free, we're going to raise the price of the other stuff.
The additional.
Yes. So usually the uniform, like the 교복, is almost entirely free with the stipend. But then, if you have kids or if you've been around kids, why do they destroy clothes?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I definitely, from experience, I can tell you almost for sure need an extra shirt. When to wear and when to wash.
Just
minimum. Minimum.
Right.
Minimum.
So that's not just the one shirt. It's the pants, skirt, and the jacket. That's probably usually covered with the stipend.
Yes.
Exactly. You're going to have to buy an extra shirt because in that age, kids sweat.
And they smell.
Yeah.
Because, it's puberty.
Right.
Hormones.
It's hormones. And then you have the casual wear.
Yes.
And then the PE uniforms, which is not casual wear.
Right.
And places all charge vastly differently. And of course, kids, I don't know, some do, I never did, they grow out of clothes. They grow. Kids grow.
But they can grow upwards.
Supposedly, or outwards
because
too.
they're studying so much.
Right,
They're not
exactly.
exercising.
There is the wear and tear, and especially teenagers,
Right.
they don't take care of their stuff mostly. And because schools designate specific stores, parents have no choice.
That's true.
You can't really shop. Also, this was the case for my sister's school, because then you could ask, well, if there are gently used stuff, can't you get hand-me-downs? The thing about some schools is that they will have rotating stripes for grades. So for my sister's age, first year students, they had red. Second year, it was blue. Third year, yellow. So unless you're going to be really searching for that specific color, it makes hand-me-downs difficult too.
That's true. So is there a solution, possible solutions to this?
I mean, we were talking about the whole thing about price collusion. Could that be an issue? But parents are also calling for at least the cash or voucher style stipends rather than giving it in actual uniforms. So municipalities like Seoul, Busan, and Ulsan already give out cash or cash-like stipends.
Yes.
Gyeonggi, not so much, apparently.
Okay, interesting. Let's move on to another story that we have been following continuously. The Epstein files. They continue to make a big splash. And Bill Gates has spoken out about the allegations.
Right. So, and I will give you the details of what was in the Epstein files because now we have both sides. Bill Gates has spoken out about this. So, in the latest release of the millions of emails and photos from the Epstein files, it claims allegedly that Microsoft founder Bill Gates hid or tried to hide an STD from his then wife, Melinda French Gates. They've since divorced. So, in an interview with NPR, Melinda French Gates said it was hard whenever these details come up because it brings back memories of some very, very painful times in her marriage. But then when pressed, she said these are questions that should be addressed by those who are directly involved.
Oh, so what has Bill Gates said about these accusations?
Right, so his ex-wife's interview came first. And then following this in a different media interview, Bill Gates directly said that the allegations were false, that the email might have been an attempt at defamation or extortion. Because keep in mind, that email was a draft that Epstein had created. It wasn't sent between the two. But Gates said because he has been photographed, he had a social relationship with Epstein, and Gates said that every minute he spent with Epstein, he regrets and apologized that he did that.
Okay, well, leaving that story there, let's talk about the Winter Olympics again. They're starting, right? But there is controversy over some athletes.
Right, so we're going to go to the wagley aspect of it. And this involves Russia.
Okay.
First of all, we're not going to see the Russian flag or the term Russia in the Olympics because the country itself, in an organized manner, is banned from competing in the Olympics. Same with Belarus, because their teams are banned due to the war in Ukraine, due to the invasion, and for Belarus, the support. But individual Russian and Belarusian athletes can compete as the official title is individual neutral athletes. So they won't be wearing any identifying markers for their home country. So right now we are looking at 13 competitors who have been approved by the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, to compete as the AINs, again, the individual neutral athletes in the Milan Cortina Games. But, here's the but. Several Russian athletes have now been accused of having links to activities supporting the war in Ukraine, and this is a BBC report.
Okay, so what kind of evidence is cited?
Right. So one is figure skater Peter Gumenik. He was coached by Ilya Averbuk, who was sanctioned by Ukraine. So again, the athlete's not sanctioned, but his coach is. Cross-country skier Savelny Korostelev and speed skater Ksenia Korvalait, they also liked pro-Putin and pro-military content on Instagram. Cross-country skier Daria Nepreva attended a ski team training camp in Crimea back in 2022. This was months after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine began. So Ukraine's Olympic Committee has written to the IOC to raise these concerns about a couple of the individual. So the final decision on whether the 4 athletes could compete was taken by the IOC's eligibility review panel. So,
I see.
Keep that in mind.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, North Korea is holding its own Winter Games.
Right. And though they are ongoing right now, actually, because North Korea, none of the athletes qualified for any of the events.
Okay.
So number one, North Korea has never been really strong in winter sports. Their only close shot was considered to be in figure skating.
Okay.
But the pair Ryomdaeok Hanggeumcheol, they failed to qualify. So North Korea's last appearance in the Winter Olympics was back in 2018 in Pyeongchang, and that included the Inter-Korean women's ice hockey team.
Right.
So instead, this year, North Korea is holding the 2026 National Winter Sports Festival. That's according to the state media, Korea Central News Agency. So the opening ceremony took place yesterday at a winter sports complex in Baekdusan in Samjian City. So the state media outlet said that the games will include ice hockey, figure skating, skiing, and other events.
Right, and some of you may have seen an image on our Note2 page that was actually from 2024, but we did want to post it just for informational purposes. Thank you for all the Woggly news. Have a beautiful weekend. We'll check in with you on Monday. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great weekend.
All right, it is now time for this song. This is 얼음꽃 by Kim Yeona and IU.
그런 꿈을
It is time for Global Affairs. And guess who's here? An 교수님 is here. Professor Andrew Millard. Hello.
Good morning, but I'm hungry.
I actually...
Joe PD just said she doesn't like my tie.
I don't either, because that is not a dog or a puppy.
It's not, no.
It's a puzzle.
I've maybe lost my mind.
What's going on?
So I saw this. I thought, ooh, I quite like that.
It's very colorful.
It's very colorful, yes.
It looks
it's
like
eye-catching.
Yeah, it's definitely a puzzle. But it's puzzling as to why you wore it, because we want the puppies.
I know.
We want the dog ties.
So this is one of my new ties, but it's not a dog one. I know. But,
and you kind of like said last week, I remember you're like, oh, wait for next week. A little preview.
I know.
I was
now
looking
you're
forward
just
to it.
disappointed. Oh.
Well,
I'm sorry. We'll wait till next week.
Oh, really?
The dogs will be back.
Okay,
next week.
Yay! However, before we jump into our corner, I do want to ask you about your favorite winter sport. What might that be?
To watch or to do?
Okay, I'll give you one each.
Oh.
Just for you. Because everybody else, I was like, you got to just choose one. I was very specific. For you, I'll let you choose one to watch. Yes.
So I'm from England, as you know. And England, we're not really that famous for winter sports, to be honest.
Okay.
Maybe a bit of curling, luge, figure skating, things like that. Me personally,
yes.
To do, I like skiing. I haven't done it for a long time, to be honest. But I like skiing.
Yes.
And to watch,
yes.
Oh, there's quite a few I like watching, to be honest. I quite like the ski jumping.
Oh, the ski jumping.
I'd never try it myself.
Oh, no. That's so scary.
And I like also the moguls, which is the downhill skiing where they literally bob along really, really fast.
Little hills. Yeah.
It always amazes me how fast they go over the bumps.
Right. It's pretty
amazing. Watch their knees go up and down. But yeah, no, I like the Winter Olympics.
Yes.
It's a good one.
All right. Well, let's jump into our corner. Global Affairs. What are we jumping into today?
So today we'll talk about the phone call, or relations really, I guess we could say.
The phone call.
The phone call, the one, you know
dun, dun,
it. Between US and China. And what potentially these improving relations might mean for South Korea.
Sure. Okay, so we're talking about obviously U.S. President Donald Trump, Chinese President Xi Jinping, right?
Right. So, I mean, this was in the news yesterday on quite a few different news channels.
Right.
That President Trump and Xi Jinping, they had a phone call. Okay. So, to be honest, this is not really that news breaking because phone calls between presidents, between leaders are not uncommon.
Right.
I mean, they're not super common. They don't do it every day, of course. They're not phoning everybody, hey, Donald, what's up?
What's up?
Yeah.
No.
So how are those tariffs going? It's not like that. But but they are relatively common. So in fact, yesterday, even before the Xi-Trump phone call, Xi was on the phone, on a video call with Putin, talking about Russia-China relations and how they were improving as well. So these calls are not uncommon, like I said, but it sort of sets the tone for generally the relations, how they're developing, how they're going. So, for example, like now, South Korea, North Korea, there's zero phone calls because the relations not very good. So I think this was sort of why it was in the news, because it was sort of an improvement, a rapprochement in the relations between U.S. and China.
Okay, so what did President Trump have to say about the phone call or his relationship with Xi?
So this is again where maybe we should be a little bit more careful, just because in the past Donald Trump has some experience, should we say, of maybe exaggerating a little bit the way things have gone. But he said yesterday that they had a very good phone call and that his relationship, his personal relationship with Xi Jinping is very good and it's getting much better.
I see.
So now, the Chinese didn't disagree with that in any way.
Okay.
So maybe it was a very positive phone call. But again, we'll have to see over time how this continues to play out.
Right. And then in terms of President Trump, he has a tendency to really focus on the personal side part of the relationship, right? There's always, kind of the formalities between leaders, but he likes to focus on, the personal quote-unquote bromances that he may have with some of the leaders.
Right.
So the phone call, was there anything, I mean, why? Why now? Why is
so
this
this
significant?
is a good question. I mean, so this is for me why it wasn't really newsworthy.
Sure.
Because it sort of just came out of the blue. It wasn't a phone call where they're sort of discussing a very specific crisis. I mean, obviously they talked about a few different things, which we'll come to in a second. But like I said, there was no specific crisis. There was no real need yesterday that they had to have that call right then.
Right.
So again, for me, this was just more of one of those general phone calls just to sort of keep up the relation. So they had that meeting, of course, in Gyeongju.
Yes.
Where they met face to face. And they're trying to arrange a meeting in April where Donald Trump will travel to Beijing and meet Xi Jinping in person there.
Right.
So again, I think this was just one of those phone calls that was maintaining this sort of good momentum.
Okay.
If you were.
Nothing, no fireworks, right?
No
Do
fireworks,
we know what they discussed?
So from the various different reports that I read, they all seem to cover the same things. So quite a bit on agriculture.
Okay.
So again, in America, this has been a very big talking point. So
Right.
especially for soybeans. So China has been a very big importer of American soybean until Donald Trump came in and put those big tariffs on, and then the
Yes.
Chinese basically just stopped importing. So
Right,
this has been a very big issue domestically in America. Donald Trump, so again, here's where we need to be a little bit careful because the American side said, or Donald Trump said, they're going to increase the imports of soybeans from the current 12 million tons a year up to 20 million tons a year.
Okay.
And then potentially up to 25 million tons next season. I don't know when the seasons specifically are.
Sure.
But we'll say the next season.
Okay.
However, the Chinese reports didn't mention anything about soybeans. So again, this is something where we need to see in the future if this is actually something that they did work out, or whether, again, this is Donald Trump sort of slightly exaggerating.
Obviously, that's probably what he wants.
Right.
But, I mean, will it come to fruition? We just don't know.
Right. I mean, maybe it will, but we're not sure yet.
What else?
Also, the sale of Boeing aeroplanes to China. So
Okay.
again, this was part of Donald Trump's sort of pressure against China. So a lot of these things, so apart from the soybeans where there was quite specific figures, some of these things, and again, in the reports that I were reading, quite general. So they talked a little bit about Boeing planes, the war in Ukraine, US threats against Iran. So there were a few different issues, so security, trade, things like that. But also, for China, what they did was they made it clear about Taiwan. Okay.
Yes.
So, again, reading the reports afterwards, China was very clear to say, we talked about these issues, but we also made it very clear to the US that when it comes to Taiwan, Taiwan is part of China's mainland territory. It's part of our sovereign rights. If we need to, quote unquote, protect Taiwan, then the US should not do anything to interfere. So this was a very clear warning.
Yes.
And I think this is maybe what we should be focusing on. Not the US soybeans, nothing like that, but the Chinese message coming out of this was very clear. We are very intent on Taiwan.
Yes.
So this has been Xi Jinping's sort of main objective right from the very start.
Right.
To reclaim, reunify Taiwan with mainland China. And it seems from that phone call that he said, was it that the Americans, they have to use prudence when they sell weapons, when they export arms to Taiwan.
Okay. So how much in weapons are we talking about, right?
Well, in December, they exported $11 billion worth of weapons. So that included HIMARS rockets, drones, missiles, and a few other things.
Right.
But that's a lot for Taiwan, which is a relatively small country. It's a huge amount of military weapons.
Sure.
And this was just in December. So again, we have the meeting between Xi and Trump in, was it November?
Right.
October, November at APEC, late October. Then they're selling weapons to Taiwan.
Right.
This sort of back and forth with the tariffs. So the relationship between US and China, it's sort of up and down.
Sure.
And also, if we sort of go a little bit to a tangent, over the past couple of weeks, Donald Trump has been very critical of other countries. So China, so Carney was over up in China a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And then I think it was last week, also the UK Prime Minister, Starmer, he was also in China. And Donald Trump was very quick to criticize them and say, oh, be careful what you're doing with China.
Oh.
And then he has this phone call and says, oh, I'm best buddies with Xi. Everything's great. So it's a bit all over the place. Yeah.
What do you think it is that he really wants? And when I say he, I'm referring to President Trump. What do you think he wants?
So for me, I think it's more to do with North Korea. I mean, obviously he wants to sort of be stronger than China.
Sure.
But I think deep down, he really needs China in order to get into some dialogue with North Korea.
I see.
So right now, like I said before, South Korea, North Korea, there's zero dialogue.
Right.
Even though the Lee administration is pushing to try to re-engage, get some more dialogue going, that's not happening.
Right.
So I think Donald Trump, he recognizes they can't go through that route. Right now, maybe he'd like to go through the Vladimir Putin route as well, but I think he'd get a lot of criticism if he went and became too close to Putin.
Right, because of Ukraine.
So really, China is probably his best option to find a path to, again, re-engage with North Korea. Which, again, would help his coveted Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes, yes. And anything else that we should know about what might have been discussed in terms of, what about like the critical minerals trade block issue?
So this one was separate to the meeting with China. But again, over the past few months, everything Donald Trump has been doing in terms of critical minerals has been to compete with China. And then just yesterday, the Americans, so it was J.D. Vance, who was promoting this critical minerals trade bloc, that they call it. So this is between the US, the EU, Mexico, Japan. Again, ironic.
Yes.
Because the US has been attacking all of these countries, especially Donald Trump, over the past few months. But now they're saying, oh, let's work together to maintain a critical minerals supply chain.
Yes.
Just because, again, China's so dominant in that area.
Field. Right. Well, I also want to ask about the implications for South Korea.
So this one's quite important. I mean, if nothing improves between the US and China, then this will, again, keep South Korea in a very difficult place.
Right.
But oppositely, if they do improve, this puts South Korea in a much better place. Why? Because right now, South Korea is sort of in the middle.
Okay.
Because it obviously for security in particular, but also trade, the US is a huge partner.
Yes.
One of its biggest partners. But also China for trade economy is its biggest partner. So right now, it's sort of in the middle. So if it gets worse, it's going to stay in that very difficult position.
Right.
But on the other hand, if relations improve, then for South Korea, having to choose, should we do China or the US, this will get much better. And so I think we should be hoping that they will improve the situation.
Well, of course, we're going to be following everything that happens on every front, obviously domestically here in South Korea, but always between a rock and a hard place, as I say, between the U.S. and China.
Yep.
With trade, security, and all the other issues at hand. So we will keep a close eye. Well, thank you for joining us today and briefing us on the most important issues in global affairs. We'll check in with you next week. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And
See you next week.
I expect a different tie.
I have already picked out next week's tie.
Okay.
Don't worry.
We will look forward to that. All right, everybody, this was Professor Andrew Millard. And now it's time to close out the show, but not before I mention once again that the Winter Games are going to be on Korean TV. It's news, so I can say it. It's going to be exclusively through one outlet, which is JTBC. Also, in terms of the opening ceremony, it's going to be around 4 a.m.-ish our time tomorrow. So if you're up and about, maybe you can catch the live telecast. If not, I'm sure they'll be playing reruns of the opening ceremony a little later on in the morning. And I want to say to all the athletes that are competing, first of all, to all the athletes, please, I hope you don't get injured because, they've been working basically all their lives to get to this point, to make it to this stage, which is, the Winter Olympics. But in particular, of course, to Team Korea as well, because we're obviously here in Korea. So wishing all the athletes the very best. I hope that you reach all your goals. And we will be back on Monday. Big thanks to our staff. We have our producer, Choi Ye-ji. We have our writers, Haley Saw, Sue Kim. I'm your host, Catherine. I'll be back on Monday to do it all over again. Wishing you a beautiful weekend. This is 너에게 by Kim Min-seok. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
마냥 좋을 땐 몰랐던 나의 마음들 이제야 할 것만 같은 내 방송 너를 향한 그리움 기분 좋게 시간을 보냈던 거리로 나 혼자 걷는 거리는 부족하게만 느껴졌지 지금 다가가도 좋을까 혹시나 부담되진 않을까 우리라는 새로운 시작으로 함께 할 수 있을까 옆에 있어서 모르고 있던 내게는 소중한 사람 그게 너라는 걸 멀어진 뒤에야 나는 알게 된 거야 그러다 나 우연히 듣게 된 네 소식 너도 날 보고 한다고 나를 좋아하고 있었다고 지금 다가가도 좋을까 혹시나 부담되진 않을까 우리라는 새로운 시작으로 함께 할 수 있을까 소중한 마음을 볼 줄 몰랐던 그저 바보 같은 사람이라 생각해줬으면 너와 함께여서 즐거웠던 늘